It's about that time, ladies and gentlemen. That is right. It is time once again to crack open this priority mail prison and free my monthly shipment from Video Games Monthly. What's going on, everybody? I'm Jay. Welcome to Square Pegs. I'm glad you're here. If you're new to the channel, thank you for clicking on the thumbnail. If you're a returning viewer, you know I love you. You look fantastic today. But today, we are all about the Video Games Monthly. And what is Video Games Monthly, you may ask? Video Games Monthly is a monthly subscription service where you can get 3, 4, 5, or 10 games sent directly to your front door. Now, this isn't a rental service. This is a pay-for service. You get to keep all the games that are sent to you. You get to curate your list of games. They don't send you duplicates, and if they do, because mistakes can happen, their customer service is aces and they will take care of you. Joe and the gang over at Video Games Monthly are fantastic, big friends of the channel. I really appreciate everything that they do for the channel, which, I mean, I guess they ship me out the things I pay for every month, but still, it's appreciated, and I think they're wonderful. But what do you say? Let's get this guy out of its priority mail prison. Let's find out what's inside. So what happens with one of these unboxings? If you're new to the channel, basically what happens is I find out at the same time as you by looking right down this camera lens. I do a blind unboxing. I open it like this. I reach in and I hold it up to the camera lens and I show you what I received. Now, I probably won't be able to read the label because I am in my mid-40s and my eyesight sucks, and you guys can all laugh at me and that's fine. But there's always a great variety of stuff. I get games from the Nintendo, the Famicom, the Super Nintendo, the N64, the GameCube, the Sega Master System, the Genesis, the Dreamcast, the Wii U, and there's probably something else in there I'm forgetting, but those are the main systems I get stuff for, and it's always fun because I always get a nice variety of stuff. But what do you say? Let's crack this guy open and let's find out what's inside. Now, there is always one of the best things to get is bubble wrap, because bubble wrap is great, and I can use it when I send stuff out. Let's see, find our cards. Oh, we got our ephemera. Our ephemera is, there's always a neat little tchotchke in every box from Video Games Monthly, and it all depends on what it is. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's dumb, and I have no idea what this is, but we're gonna find out. Oh, I think this is one of the things you can put into your Crocs, so I might actually be giving this to Nintendo when I see him at the Cleveland Gaming Classic. That's right, I'm gonna be in Cleveland, Ohio, in just a couple of weeks for the Cleveland Gaming Classic. It is going to be an awesome show. There'll be a link on screen right now, as well as down below in the description if you want to attend, if you're in the Midwest and you would like to go to an awesome show. It's going to be at the IX Center. It's going to be a fun time. Ticket information will be there. You can pick your tickets up. Come find me. Come say hello. I'd be happy to say hi to you. All right, let's find out what we got in here. All right, so this is your social card. And what the social card does is says if you share your experience with Video Games Monthly online, you will be entered into a chance to win a free... I always screw this up. You'll be entered into a chance to win a free 3-up box, which means 3 free games sent directly to your front door. This also reminds you to update your list as soon as you get your games, because that way they won't send you duplicates. I think that went over the bookshelf into the game room. All right. No other cards. That's okay. We got a fun variety of stuff. We're just going to start. We're going to grab some stuff. We're going to do the N64 last. This is a Famicom cart. 3, 2, 1. Baseball? Baseball. NES Baseball. NES Baseball is actually a pretty fun game. Let's take a look now at baseball. Baseball was one of the first games I ever owned on the NES, so I do have some fairly rose-colored glasses when it comes to this game, but I'm also realistic enough to look back at it and say this has not aged terribly well. There are so many other games on the NES that celebrate the sport of baseball and make the game sing and make it play perfectly well. This is a very slow game. It doesn't have the best presentation. Like, there's no real music in the game, only when an inning starts or you're in between innings. I don't know. It's just... it's a good idea. And for something that was created in 1983, I need to be clear about that. This is a 40-year-old title at this point. When you compare this to things like baseball on the Atari 2600, this is miles better than anything that was offered prior to this. It's just, by today's standards, it's hard to look at it and say, yeah, this is a great game. The rose-colored glasses only go so far. There are significantly better options on the Famicom and on the NES, especially on the Famicom. There's a ton of baseball games we didn't get released over here that just play so much better than this one does. But as far as a Famicom cartridge goes, I love it. It's a game that I played when I was younger. I love the look of the cart. I love the dark blue of it. I really, really do appreciate it. One of the things I love about getting Famicom carts, and I know this is like the most common of common games, but one of the things I love about Famicom carts is that they're so colorful. and they just look so much cooler than our NES cartridges. And this, despite the fact that it is a common game, is super cool to get because I don't actually own the NES cart for it, so that's pretty awesome. All right, this, however, is an NES cart. Let's take a look. All right, 3, 2, 1. Now, this, of course, is not the Flintstones super duper expensive one, but this is actually a really fun game. This is from Taito. Let's take a look at the Flintstones: The Rescue of Dino and Hoppy. Y'all, I'm not gonna lie to you. When I saw the Flintstones name on this game, my heart skipped a beat because my idiot lizard brain, for a second, thought that this was Rescue at Dinosaur Peak. But I'm a dumbass. Of course it's not Rescue at Dinosaur Peak, but it is the Rescue of Dino and Hoppy. I guess Adventure at Dinosaur Peak, whatever it's called. But it is the Rescue of Dino and Hoppy, and that's also no slouch of a game. It's nothing to look at sideways because this is, by far, I think the most valuable game I've ever received from Video Games Monthly. It's up there at the very least. At the time of the recording, this is almost a $30 title, and it's a really fun game. Like, the Flintstone games have their problems, don't get me wrong. The physics are a little bit wonky, and there's certain things that happen in the game that are, I don't want to say hard to justify based on the fact that it's a Flintstones game. You'd think it would be for kids, but it's an exciting and challenging platformer with excellent gameplay and a spectacular look. Like, the animations in this game are magnificent, and Fred ducking his head into his shirt to duck rather than bending over just makes me laugh every time I see it. Stoked to have this game, and thank you to VGM for sending this one to me. Like I said, I think this is the most valuable game they've ever sent me. Alright, next up, we've got another NES, we have a Genesis, and an N64. We're going to do NES, then Genesis, then 64. Sky Shark from Taito. Oh, it's a Taito month, okay. I just did a Taito ranking video, so this is going to be pretty great. One of the things I love about Sky Shark, though, is box art is just stunning. Like, that is some of my favorite box art on the NES. I think that's awesome. Alright, so let's talk about Sky Shark again, because I just did that like 2 weeks ago on my Ranking Taito Games video, but I want to go a little bit more in depth. I said during that video that Sky Shark was kind of a middling shooter, and it didn't really do anything special. And I stand by that statement, but I also want to talk about the things it does well. First off, it looks really good for a game that released that early. I think the box art is spectacular. Now, that's not something the game does, but like I showed in the video, it does something really special with the box art. It's one of my favorite box arts on the NES, and I actually do have fun with the game. It's just not terribly memorable, and I think that's kind of its biggest problem. When it's on a system that has a ton of fantastic shooters on it, it doesn't stand out outside of the box art, and that's its biggest failing. Am I upset that I own it? Not by any stretch of the imagination. Taito does really excellent games, and I think if this had been developed by someone else and compared it to a different library from someone else, this might have ranked a little bit higher at the time, but for now, I'm just satisfied to have the game. It's nothing spectacular, it's nothing terribly memorable, but it is fun. All right, now moving on to the Genesis, and this is a short cartridge, so this could be one of hundreds of games. I have no idea what this could be, but let's find out together. 3, 2, 1. Zoop! We actually have a restaurant right near my house called Zoop. They sell soup. I don't think this is a soup game. Let's find out what Zoop is. I have no idea what it is. I found that when it comes to puzzle games, being more esoteric isn't necessarily the best approach to take when it comes to wanting to play your title. And with regards to Zoop, it is quite esoteric. So what do I mean by that? Basically what I'm saying is it's not a terribly easy game to just pick up and grasp. Like, there are other games that I have played that are, I don't want to say equally esoteric, but looking at them without an instruction manual, something like Yoshi's Cookie, for example, you can pick up and figure out what you need to do from jump. This one took me a few playthroughs to actually figure out what I needed to do, and even though I think I know what I'm supposed to do, I don't actually think I know what I'm supposed to do yet. It's an interesting game, though. Like, I say all that with the caveat of this isn't a bad puzzle game at all, it's just very different than anything I'd ever played before. I'm definitely going to give it some more time. I think there's some creative gameplay here And I think it's a really neat idea for a title. I don't necessarily think I'm going to hang on to it long term, but I didn't hate it. It was just confusing. Zoop! There's Zoop! There's Zoop for a Zoop for all seasons. That's really what it is, a Zoop for all seasons. All right, now we're closing out with the N64. Doesn't have a sticker on top. That's okay. That's okay. The back label looks good. That's a good sign. All right. 3, 2, 1, N64 time. Here we go. Excitebike 64! Hell yeah, that's awesome! So I'm a huge fan of the Excitebike series, and this actually just got added to the N64 Switch Online service, and I played this one time when I was younger, and it was something that I really enjoyed, and I enjoyed it on the Switch Online service too, but I didn't expect to get the cartridge. That's really awesome. Let's take a look at some footage now for Excitebike 64.
Riders are lined up at the start line and ready to go. 3, 2, 1, go!
Excitebike 64 is an interesting lesson. So it's a good game. I want to say that right away. It's a good game. There's just frustrating aspects of it, and it's something where I look at it and I realize that Nintendo had a particular way that they were developing things, and it didn't quite land correctly with Excitebike 64. The controls are a little questionable. It gets a little bit flighty at times, and there are certain things where, in full disclosure, I didn't actually look at the control scheme before I started playing. I had to do that afterwards. Unfortunately, though, it's kind of a product of its time, and it's a product of a lot of what happened on the Nintendo 64. We were getting all these new control schemes and these new implementations for what analog sticks would do, and unfortunately, the game doesn't really deliver in some regards. Now, there have been occasions where steering overcorrection has happened to the point where I wasn't able to turn around. The track layout would cause my bike to get stuck up on the barricade and I wasn't able to get off of it. It was a couple of small things like that that just made me go, oh, wow, that kind of sucks. It's still a fun game. It can just be a little bit frustrating. It plays identically to the way I played it on the Nintendo Switch Online service, and I was hoping that it was just a case of the Switch controller not being great for Excitebike, but playing it on OG hardware with an original controller, it's kind of the same performance. That's not to say it's not a fun game. It can just be frustrating at times. I do love all the options that are in here. I do love the different characters. I love the different tracks that are available. I love that there's a track builder. There's time trials. It's a really complete racing game. As long as you can get past those little control quirks, it's a fantastic game to have in your collection.
That's a banger month, right? But the ultimate question always is, how did I make out? Did I come out ahead? Did I come out behind? Or did I finish right on the finish line with what the total value is? We're going to check it out right now, and I will be right back. All right, how did I do? Well, came out at $53.01, which is $2 under what I normally pay with shipping, but I'm not actually upset about that. I got a lot of common games today. I don't think that's any question, but I also got that Flintstones game, which is worth $30 on its own at the time of this recording. And Excitebike 64 is also worth like 12 bucks, so I got two fairly heavy hitters for what I would normally be sent from Video Games Monthly, and zero complaints, and a great array of game types on this one too. This isn't something where I just got like all of one kind or anything like that. It was nice to get a wide variety of games, a wide variety of systems, and all in spectacular condition. Let me know in the comments down below what your favorite game is that I received this month. If there's something I need to spend a little bit more time with, if I'm being unfair to Sky Shark, let me know in the comments down below. Appreciate you guys as always for being here. We just passed 8,000 subscribers. This time last year, I was at 3,000, and I'm still just absolutely flabbergasted that everyone's here. I appreciate you guys so much. If this is your first time here, consider subscribing. If you've been here for a while, check out the Patreon links below or check out the channel membership. Would love to have you guys stick around. And until next time, folks, I've been Jay. I appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me today. Remember to play more games, stay square, and take care. I'll talk to you soon.